Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers Podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Oquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll! That's what editing's for. It's fixed. Woo, it never happened. I never pressed the wrong button. Woo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, since I'm starting, to episode number 286, recorded on December 4th, and will be airing on December 18th. Hi, guys.
Hello. We have a guest today.
I thought we said Angie didn't count as a guest. She's family.
Hey, all right, but she's still a guest.
Okay. Well, welcome, guest Angie.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be with you.
So, before we get into our topic for the day, Angie has said is really glad to be here because she's been updating the Positive Ed website.
Oh, I needed a break so bad. Now, you guys know me. I am an extremely patient person. Were some template errors. They just kept piling up, and then there were script errors. And at one point, I nearly just picked up my computer and literally threw it out the window. It was close. I didn't. Instead, I took the dogs for a walk. I froze my butt off, and it gave me a little clarity. And so it was good.
And I realize why PJ is so nonplussed by being out there at all hours when it's chilly and you're cold and he wants to pee. He's a New England dog. He's like, this isn't cold. I don't know what she's bitching about.
That boy is amazing. He is in and out in 30 seconds. He goes out, he does his business, no messing around, and shoop, right back to the door. Miss Jazzy Jazz.
Miss Jazzy Jazz.
Yes, Miss Jazzy Jazz is like, oh, we're outside. I'm going to sniff all the things, and I'm going to find all the sticks, and, oh, is this a rock? I should probably chew on that, too. Well, you chase me around and try to take the rock out of my mouth, and that would be really, really fun. At 3:30 in the morning, when it is 30 degrees outside, and I'm in a t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants, freezing my body parts off.
Body parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was pretty sure I was going to come in and I would have two butt cheeks at the bottom of my sweatpants. I'm like, seriously, kid, they're numb at this point. Can we go?
You see, now I'm really fortunate. Even though now I've got older dogs, and sometimes they got to go out in the middle of the night, and if they have to go, they got to go. They're not waking me up for anything because my dogs appreciate a nice warm bed, and we're going to sleep. Wake me up in the morning. Right?
Oh, see, the thing is, I'm not asleep at 3:30 in the morning. I'm still
There's the problem.
We just finished painting the dining room. So, yeah. Because I work on the website until midnight, and then from midnight to 4 is my time where I get to do what I want to do.
See, and here's why you have to be careful about comparing yourself to other people, because I fall into that trap all the time. And I'm like, well, why can't I do things as fast as that? And I can't get as much stuff accomplished as Angie. And then I'm like, well, Angie needs to sleep 3-4 hours and that's it. That's what your body wants.
Right. Since I was little, it's actually a genetic thing.
Yeah.
And if you were not born with those genetics, that is never going to work for you. there is, I think what did they say? It was 0.01% of the population can thrive on 4 or less hours of sleep. I just happen to be one of those people, and it's purely genetics. I won the genetic lottery on the not having to sleep thing.
Okay, but it made up for with food allergies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I would,
basically everything that's fun.
I
Not
would,
even basic. I'm allergic to everything that's fun. So I
I'll
can't have,
trade. Yeah. I'll trade absolutely needing 8 hours. I mean, I can function on 6, but I have bitch potential.
okay.
And the longer I function at 6, the greater my bitch potential becomes.
Fair.
So 8 is lovely, but I'll trade that for actually I'm a Taurus. 10 to 12 is really lovely every now and then, but I'll trade that for being able to enjoy garlic, alcohol, and anesthesia.
Yeah.
I'll trade. It's fair. It's okay. It's fair.
I hop out of bed after 2 hours of sleep and I'm like, woohoo! Yay! And I'm like good to go. I'm happy. I'm functional. Not entirely functional until I've had my first couple sips of Dr. Pepper, admittedly.
That's
Because,
fair.
being is king. But yeah, once I have my Dr. Pepper, I'm like, let's do this.
See, and that's a big thing for me is not everyone has the same 24 hours a day. People are like, we all have the same 24 hours. I'm like, that's bullshit. Bullshittery.
Such a load of crock that everybody has the same 24 hours. If that one person's successful, you have the same 24 hours as I do, that's bullshit. All right. There's so many factors that go into it. First of all, most of us do not have that gene where if I don't get a solid 8 hours of sleep at night, I can get things done, but I am not a happy person. Okay.
No, if you throw a cookie at me in the morning, I'll be shooting rainbows out of my eyeballs. I'm just like, woo.
Eyeballs was not the orifice I thought rainbows were going to be shooting out of. FYI.
Well, I figured I'd come at it from a different tack.
All right.
I thought out of eyeballs goes hearts and flowers.
Okay, well, those two, whatever. Whatever turns your crank. I'm not picky.
Some people have small kids. Some people have teenagers. Some people are single parents. Some people have to care for a significant other or parents or working 2 jobs or for whatever the 1,000 reasons.
And some people have medical issues.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not going to fit in the cat carrier. Don't stare at it.
My 24 hours these days doesn't look anything like my 24 hours even a couple of years ago. So that changes. So yeah, don't beat yourself up because somebody is more successful and tries to use that. Well, we have the same 24 hours excuse. That's such a load of crap.
Yeah, no, that's utter trash. Because not everybody has the same workload, responsibilities. Like my best friend Amy has 5 dogs. 4 of them, 2 of them, she has a grand champion. One that is just about to hopefully become a champion by the time this is released. And they need to be maintained weekly. And then on top of that, she's got 2 other haircut dogs that need to be maintained every single week.
Oh yeah, my dogs are all sharp-plated dogs.
That's why I have pugs. Is because I don't have 2 to 3 hours per dog in a week to be doing. Nope.
That's why my dogs look like a hot mess. Because I have 3 haircut dogs and 2, depending on how much of a fight you want to get into it, could be haircut cats.
Yeah.
Right. So, what our topic that we want to talk about today?
And then we'll do a commercial once we announce what the topic is going to be.
What I wanted to talk about is things change. Things change over time, and what things look like today doesn't mean that's what it'll look like in a year or what it looked like a year ago. And sometimes things look really bleak and bad. But hang in there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Right. And that's why we have Anjie on today. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to hit our first commercial, Chris?
We're going to hit our first commercial while I decide which house pen is more appropriate. But we'll hit our first commercial once I found it, because I got distracted by pens. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel. Taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse, these super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets, and now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomers sent you. All right.
So if we go back, give or take a year-ish, okay? So Angie's going to describe her life prior to the big thing that happened to her, and then sort of like that journey afterwards, right? And it's been a little over a year. Angie?
You're going to have to be more specific. There have been a lot of things that have been significant in the last year.
We're talking semi-traumatic changes. I know we've talked about changes in the podcast before, but we're talking about traumatic changes that are just long-term affecting. And I want to say it's been closer to 2 years, if not 3.
No, it's 2. It's just over 2.
2? Okay.
So day before Thanksgiving, my then husband came home without his phone, which was odd to me. For those that don't know, I have ADHD. Pattern recognition is kind of one of my things. I will notice people and their patterns, and when a pattern is off, there's a reason a pattern is off. So I asked him, "Where's your phone?" And he said, "Oh, I left it at work." Something about the way he said it, I was like, nah, that's a load of crap. So I didn't say anything. I just went downstairs and I called the phone. And I waited to hear it ring. And it did, in the garage, in his car. So the car that was in my name.
That you bought for him.
BMW. So yeah. So I went in the car because it was in my name. Technically my car.
Well, it's a communal property state, so you could go in the car anyway, right?
Yeah, but it was my car.
It's your car.
Because I bought it and it was registered to me. And the title was in my name.
So it was all the ways your car.
Yes, it was all the ways my car. And it was insured under my name. Anyway, so I pulled out the phone and I opened the phone and I found a whole bunch of text messages, sext messages with his high school girlfriend, and said, right. And then I said nothing. I said nothing. I just went to my computer and I spent the next 8 hours compiling evidence, printed that all up, put that on the dining room table. So when he woke up the next day, I just pointed to the table because I had printed all the text messages out, all the photos, all the everything, and said I wanted to. And the next day I went to a lawyer, had a separation agreement drawn up, and he signed it. And then began the journey of getting my ducks in a row to sell the house that we had built that was completely custom, that I had put my soul into for 24 years. So yeah, that was the day before Thanksgiving, 2 years ago.
Okay. So the point, okay, so let's start off here with the journey. The relationship wasn't that good to start off with.
Yeah.
Okay. But Anjie found her way out of it, and she started to protect herself. But the point that I wanted to make here, that's upheaval, right? Even if it was a horrendous relationship, okay, to end it is still a grieving process. Okay. And not that he made it easy for you after. Okay. So then there's that as well. All right. So this is all 2 years ago. All right. So 2 years ago, things might have appeared very, very bleak for you, correct?
There aren't even words. Okay, now mind you, this is on the tail end of few different personal issues that I had gone through health-wise. And that were kind of scary that I went through alone. But ended up everything was okay. And so then I was like, okay, you know what? All of the energy that I was putting into trying to hold this one-sided marriage together, I'm going to put into my career. And I did. And that's when I started writing the Quintessential Rabbit book. And you'd be amazed how much time you have when you don't have to cater to anybody else or worry about their laundry or their dishes or their anything. I freed up a ton of time. So I was like, yeah, all right, cool. And I had time to write the book, which I did, and do all the proper research to do it properly.
Okay. Yeah. Also, you want to add something, Chris?
I was going to go into it, and we're almost time for commercial. I was going to touch on something after the commercial, but you go first because mine's a whole soapboxy. I get mad for my friends easily.
Okay. So one of the things, though, you had going for you is that you did have a strong support system outside of the marriage.
I have the most amazing individuals in my life that at any time I can call and go, I need help. and they're immediately like, what do you need? Do I need to get on a plane? What?
I
Because
bet you had 3 different people offer to show up with shovels.
I had more than 3.
You had more. Yeah.
There was more than 3, and I'm like, look, none of us look good in orange. We're not doing that. So we're just gonna, but no, I have the most amazing individuals that I have surrounded myself with who want to lift me up rather than pull me back in the pot, as Mary's often thought of crab story.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, at any time that I call them for advice or, hey, I need your opinion. Can you tell me, is this okay? Is this not okay? Is this good? Does this sound better? They will tell me. I mean, I have had innumerable conversations with you, Chris. How does this sound at 2 o'clock in the morning? Does this sound okay? Or does this sound better? And you're like, oh no, the second one. And I'm like, are you asleep? And you're like, yeah, mostly. Go to bed.
Well, I'm also a night owl, and it's the horrible. I'm not designed, and this is why I'm so happy I work for myself now. I'm a night owl. I'm not a get up in the morning sort of person, and all those things that say, be productive, get up at 6 a.m. and you'll get so much stuff done. No, bullshit. My brain sometimes starts firing at 11 p.m. And if I got to get up at 7 the next day, that doesn't work well for the amount of sleep I need. But my brain, like, if I'm fed and watered at 10, 11, my brain's just, wah! Like afternoon, great. Mornings, no, all the F no's.
Yeah. My ideal bedtime is 5 a.m. It's perfect. Perfect for me. I go to bed at 5. I get up at like 8 or 9. I'm happy as a clam. It's good.
Angie, at 5 o'clock your time, that's 2 a.m. my time. I guarantee you I am asleep.
Oh no, I know, because I know this for a fact, because a couple times I'm like, should I hit Mary up now? And I'll go to send a message. It says, Mary is on Do Not Disturb. And I'm like, I'll leave myself a note to hit her up tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, it's like 9 o'clock your time. So it's like 9:05. I'm like, missed her by like 5 minutes.
Actually, the Do Not Disturb goes on at 10 o'clock my time. So
Okay, 10 o'clock.
7 your time, but 10 o'clock at p.m., my Do Not Disturb goes on, does not actually go off until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, I know. I've tried to message you. So yes, I am fully aware. And yeah. Although there are times that Mary has called me for something.
Well, I know you are.
Yeah, and we've been chatting, and she's like, isn't it like 3 o'clock in the morning there? And I'm like, yeah.
What's your point?
Like, go to bed. And I'm like, oh, I'll be in bed for at least another hour and a half. Finish your thought.
All right, I'm going to hit a button, and then I'm going to go on a rant. And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis World-Class Education Team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis Grooming Education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer Podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education. Okay, I'm going to address something, and I was debating on whether or not to go into it. But then you kind of said something that stuck out at me. And that is that you went through these health issues pretty much on your own. As other married people probably listening to it going, I'm sure I'm not the only one who heard that. And somebody's going, but she's married. How is she going through this on her own? Because he was a douche patrol. However, it's easy from looking at the outside in and go, why, if it wasn't that great a relationship, if there were problems, why did it take this? Why did it take this traumatic thing to end it? And the answer, if you've not, I don't know the proper terminology, but if
the
you
word you're looking for is economics.
Well, no, not even just that. Not even just economics. The word I'm looking for is childhood trauma.
Oh yeah, that too.
If you had this special kind of childhood trauma where your partner is this much better than your parent, maybe could just be one of your parents. If you are conditioned from a child that you're worth about this and that you're just a pain in somebody's ass, then narcissistic partners, abusive partners love people with childhood trauma because they can treat you this much better than that parent and they can seem like an absolute fucking angel.
Yeah, because the only factor that's different is he doesn't hit.
But he doesn't hit me.
Doesn't hit me, so that makes him amazing.
Yeah. Or he's not as mean as, because my dad didn't hit, but he was emotionally abusive. So it's either, and I just consider myself lucky that I kind of went through that in high school and got out of that and eventually, I don't know, somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good because I found someone who actually treats me decently. And we have our issues, don't get me wrong. We fight, every marriage does.
There's no perfect people. No
one's perfect. Everything's a trade-off.
It's something.
But when you're conditioned that you're worthless, somebody can still treat you poorly and it's better than worthless. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's a step up.
It was a step up. And if you're firmly believe and entrenched that you're only worth so much, you will accept a whole bunch of crap from a relationship because at least they don't hit me. At least they don't this. Yeah. And they'll have their moments where they're nice to you, probably because they need something.
Yep.
Where they'll go through the honeymoon phase again because they want a car or sex that day or something. And that's a thing. So it's sometimes, and I've gone through that, nothing on that scale and level as you, Angie, but I've gone through where I've stayed in bad situations way longer than I should have because you can deal with it. Because that's what you think is normal. That's your normal.
All right. And we're going to detour a little bit at this stage to talk about options for people to get out of situations like this. Okay. One is to have good friends who will help you do this, but not everybody has the friends who can help them, or the friends may not be in a position to help them. Okay. Maybe your best friend has got a house full of like 6 kids and 5 dogs, and there's just not the room for you. Okay. Whatever the reason. So there are resources in your area. And Chris, we're going to start Googling some phone numbers for people.
I'm Googling phone numbers. I'm Googling how to put together a workbook.
That's another thing, Chris. All right. So there are resources that there are women's shelters. Okay. Angie, you were top, off the top of your head what the 3-digit number is to call for that kind of assistance? Not 911.
No, it's 999, isn't it?
I think it's 999.
Yeah, I think it's 999.
Well, if there's something going on in progress, if we're dealing with domestic abuse, that is
physical abuse
911. That's if something is going on right now and you're like locked in the bathroom and you're like, oh shit, he's killing me this time.
Yeah, but you know what? National Domestic Violence Hotline. Okay. The number is
1-800-799
safe.
Now, there's also
Can you repeat that, please?
that is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also find shelters through womenslaw.org.
Here's the reason most women don't leave.
Thank you. Go ahead, Angie. Why?
They cannot take their pet with them and will not leave the pet with the abuser. So they will stay and be abused because they can't leave the pet with the abuser, because what's going to happen to the pet when they're not there?
It's going to kill him. They're going to, yeah.
It's going to be the pet. And they love that pet. They cannot take the pet to the shelter. So that is the reason most women will stay, that because they don't dare leave the pet, because they cannot take the pet to the shelter. They are beginning to come around on this and beginning to find ways to have the women bring the pet and do some kind of like deal with the shelter, where the shelter holds the pet, if you will, like a boarding situation. And so they're working on that in some areas. Hopefully that will become much more common.
Okay, so in the state of Washington, it is 211. All right, is what you would call. And there is something called the Purple Leash Project. And you know what? We may have talked about this, but with the Purple Leash Project is, and it's with Purina and Red Rover. Okay, they're the ones, I guess, the two major backers of this, where they're looking to give grants to help shelters become pet friendly, increase awareness, yada yada yada, provide training and research. So if you want to make a donation to that, all right, and redrover.org is the website.
The smell was so bad that the person that brought them actually put it in a bag.
I don't know why.
Okay, what was that?
Chris's phone is doing really weird things. It's just
So anyway, they're making, so your donation to the Purple Leash Foundation can help make it easier for women in that situation to leave and take their pets with them.
Yep.
Right. Then there's the other situation is that if they leave, a lot of these women are not employed.
Also true. Economics is a huge factor.
Economics. All right. Health insurance, especially if one of the kids has a chronic medical condition. I mean, these are all valid reasons for for somebody to like not leave a really bad situation for them if they feel that their pets or their kids are better off if they stay.
Yeah. So they'll
Yeah.
sacrifice themselves in order
Sacrifice themselves for it.
to make it work. But that's a very I don't mean to say this as derogatory. It's a very feminine thing to do because women are generally more of a nurturing. And I mean, Mary, what would you do for your kids when they were little?
Oh, I stopped a school bus because some kid made a threatening gesture at one of my daughters.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Made the school bus pull to the, I probably could have been arrested for that, by the way.
Probably. But you're a mom and you poke the mama bear and you're going to get the claws. So, I mean, women will sacrifice for their children. It's time immemorial. I mean,
I had a doll. I think I had two of them that I was very fond of, and I remembered exactly what store my mom bought them for me. Like I remember vaguely my age. I remember this one particular store I loved on Bergen Line Avenue, and loved this doll because it was a doll like Laura Ingalls Wilder had. It was, you know, those porcelain, the ones with the porcelain head and feet, and it looked like an old-fashioned thing. And I loved it, and I put it up in my room as an adult, and I said something later, as you know, I think this was after my father died. I said something to my mom about it, and I was like, yeah, I love that doll so much. And she went, yeah, I remember when I bought that for you. I was really suicidal, and I wanted you to remember me well after I was dead because I didn't know if I could take it anymore. And I would have bought you anything you, and we were broke. We were really always on the edge of poverty. So it meant a lot that I got a special gift and that she'd said, I would have bought you anything you asked for that day because that was how I was feeling. Yeah, I'm not sure what I've done with the dolls. They're either packed away or given away because yeah, they were still an important piece of my childhood, but I couldn't look at them the same.
no.
So yeah, and I know there are times like my mom and I like doing this, she makes me crazy, but I get that because I know she held some shit together for me. Oh, look at that. We're past due on a commercial. I'm not choked up at all, but I'm going to hit a button. Are you feeling stuck in your mobile grooming business? Unsure about investing in a grooming vehicle? Or struggling to make your business thrive? Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand, the Mobile Groomers Bible is your ultimate guide to success in the mobile grooming industry. With decades of experience, Mary and Beth, leaders in the field, cover everything from starting a mobile grooming business to planning for the future. Let them help you take your business to the next level. Get your copy at positiveed.com/books.
And just a little side note on the book, I'm redoing the mobile grooming certification program, which by the end of the year should be ready to go. So save up that tip money if you're thinking about going mobile.
Nice.
Okay, so let's maybe.
Oh, and as a side note, before we completely get off that topic, Angie and I have talked before about like we've both had in different ways effed up childhoods. So we'll like share stuff that we think is totally normal. And then we're like, oh yeah, this, da, da, da. And other people are going,
Oh,
So-
yeah, that happens a lot.
that happens all the time.
We have a show, and I'm like, oh my God, I did the same thing. And then, and
Right.
people are like,
Right.
wait, what?
Right. So when I just saw Angie's eyes go big, I'm like, oh, That is as exactly as fucked up, if not more, than I thought it was. Because Angie's eyes went big and her bar is high.
Yeah. And yeah. So, and we'll be laughing at something we think is
Yes.
funny. And
Yes.
we're like, yeah, not funny. That's horrible. And we're like, ha ha. Oh. And I just
Oh,
kind of
I
look at
guess
Chris like,
so.
it's another one of those things. And she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go. It's okay. Go. Go, Mary.
Okay.
Mary's like, oh, we did it again, didn't we? Mary gets flustered at nothing, and Mary is now flustered. So no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Okay.
Oh, well played. Well played.
Okay. So now moving that along a little bit. Boy, to get me back on track. Look at this.
Oh, she's gonna
Oh,
open.
okay. So for those on the that are listening to the podcast,
Making me crazy.
Mary is holding one of her advent calendar boxes. It is the box for Christmas Eve.
Yes.
She's going to open it because it literally drives Chris insane that she's not opening them in any sort of order. She's just willy-nilly in front of God and everybody.
She
Just
opened
opening up
one in
box.
November, Angie. November.
Yeah, but it was for an episode, Angie, it was for an episode airing in December.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not. No complaints
It
here.
still made my eye twitch. Oh, it's a neck.
Oh,
See,
that's really pretty.
that's why you open them in order, because there's a build.
Look at that. Who's wearing a necklace?
So it's an amethyst heart necklace.
It's very pretty.
It is very pretty.
Hey, Pooh. He's like, whatever.
Who's it's currently being worn by Pooh Bear.
Okay, so moving it along.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Apparently, I've been lax in throwing toys because I now have two under
All
my
right,
chair.
so- Now, if we fast forward, all right, let's fast forward to like about probably a little bit longer. You decided you wanted to buy Positive Ed.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was, we discussed it initially. It was a year later because we had the discussion. It was in December of the following year. So that
Right.
was 2023. And because I remember talking to you, and that was December of 2023, and you said, I'm going to retire a couple of years, and I was like, okay, well, let me know because I'm interested.
So, and that set off another chain of events for you.
Yes. So 6 months after that, I was planning, my initial plan was to stay in Massachusetts and just find somewhere else in Massachusetts to live. And I actually looked at a number of houses, and my best friend Amy lives in Florida. And she was like, why are you staying there? You hate the cold, you hate the snow, move to Florida. And I'm like, yeah, but then I have to sell my salon. She's like, yeah, so? And I'm like, good point. So my longtime assistant, Angie, came into work one day and she's like, I need to retire. My body is very broken and I just can't do it anymore. And that day, I was like, salon's being sold, because we had worked together for so long that I didn't really want to work there without her. It's why I did much of the things that I did in that salon.
And knowing you, you thought at least once, well, I can't sell. What's she gonna do?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you have employees, you have to take into account, yes, this may be good for me, but what would happen if, so I mean, I paid her very well, and I took her to Super Zoo, I took her to Inner Room, she had a lifetime membership, all that. Is someone else going to maintain that? Are they going to maintain her pay structure? Is she still going to have the vacation that she has now? Is she still going to have the benefits that she does now? How do I make sure? And is that a thing? So I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't think it was possible. So I kind of just said, okay, well, I'll just, find a smaller home nearby. But then she said she was retiring, and I'm like, okay. So I went outside, I called Amy and said, hey, I'm moving to Florida. So I need to find a house. And then the search was on. And I told her what I was looking for. And between the two of us, we found essentially my dream home. It is a beautiful brick home on 5 acres of land in northern Florida. And it's everything I always wanted. And it has the most beautiful front entryway. The lovely gentleman who initially owned the house did a lot of the work himself. And he crafted the most gorgeous front stairs I have ever seen. And it's all brickwork. And he did it himself. And it's stunning. And I love it. So, yeah, I love everything about this house. I am now in Florida, in northern Florida. And I'm just about as happy could be.
And okay, I'm going to hit a button because we're going to run over. But I have a semi comment about tarot and how that plays into this. I swear it relates. Handvee engineering isn't just for mobile groomers. I have loved my Handvee equipment for years before I even thought of getting a mobile van, and I wouldn't want to groom without my Bathing Beauty and hair vac. With every piece of equipment in their van and outside of it having its own QR code linked to troubleshooting tips and fixes, these low-maintenance workhorses turn potential roadblocks into mere speed bumps. Check them out yourself at handvee.com. Okay. So when you get a tarot reading and the death card comes up, a lot of people freak right the hell out because, oh, the death card. But that doesn't mean you're going to die. It means change. And not all change is bad. That's like the Tower card. The Tower card's a little bit worse than the Death card because it's associated with destruction and chaos on upheaval. But you could need that kick in the pants. It could be an old ways are ending. This upheaval and this change is not always negative. My house in the flood, that was not a great thing.
No.
And it sucked, and I wish I didn't have to go through it. But a lot of good came out of that. And you can't be a Pollyanna every time something bad happens, because sometimes bad things are just bad things that suck. But that's why we say things like time heals all wounds, because you could look back on the situation in 10 years. And by the way, I am not talking about the literal death of a loved one, because that does legitimately suck 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, that never heals, just to be clear.
And that does never heal. And I say it only sucks 99.9% of the time, because in that 0.0001 is where we realize that everyone does die, and that sometimes an illness can get drawn out to a certain point
Yes.
where, like,
Like,
yeah, like when my dad was in the hospital at the end, and it was December, and it was right before Christmas, and people were like, oh, I hope he gets better soon. And what I had to bite my tongue, because people wouldn't understand, was every time someone said that to me, all I could think was, actually, I just hope he really dies really soon, because he's not getting better from this. And this is just painful for him. And it just, no, sometimes.
Let the suffering end. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the suffering needs to end. But I don't even know where I went with. Oh, but change is not always bad. Death is, it's the death of an old way of life. It's a death of a dog if you get in there. Oh, wow, he understood exactly what. But yeah, change, even painful, horrible, drastic change, can be a good thing, because now you are the happiest, and you're not like a sad person. You can smile through horribleness.
Yeah. Have for a very, very long time.
You've gotten good practice, but you're the happiest I've seen you in all the time I've known you.
Yeah.
In ever.
Cannot stop smiling. I am just, it feels like a dream. And I go to bed at night or in the morning, or you know what I mean. I go to bed when I go to sleep.
At some juncture in the morning, and wake up later in the morning.
And I wake up, and when I go to sleep, I'm 90% sure I'm gonna wake up in Massachusetts, and this was all just a dream, because it's almost too good to be real. It's almost too good to be true. And I wake up and I'm like, holy cow. All right. Either the dream is still going and okay, cool, or this is reality. And I'm good with that too. I prefer it to just be reality, because in a dream, eventually you wake up. But I mean, the coma, and if this is a coma dream, then I'm okay with that too. Whatever. I don't really care. I'm just happy, and I don't care how I got here. I'm just happy, and I'm digging the hell out of it.
Okay. Now, but compare this to 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
Oh, no. Night and day.
There's no, I don't even know how. I was not okay.
So the point that I want to make with that is what a difference 2 years can make.
Yeah. A year. 2 months. What a difference 2 months can make. Because I just moved here the beginning of November. This is the beginning of December. And 2 months ago, really, really hard. Really, honest to God, hard. And it feels like a different life. It's like completely okay. Not only did you survive, you thrived, and ta-da! You get to wake up and make your dreams happen.
Mhm.
And I am. And it's awesome.
So, okay, so, just now to like bring this like full circle, it's not too late to make a change in your life. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, it's not too late. If you need assistance, look at your real support. You want to send me or Angie a message on how to find support in your area, feel free to do so.
I will help you. Just to clarify, I'm 53 years old. I was married 35 years. That was not a brief relationship. It was long. And I have never been a single adult. Ever. I was not an adult and single. I am now, and it was daunting to think, holy cow, do I even know how to do this? Because I wasn't sure that I could. And you know what? You know more than you think you do. So yeah. Believe in yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah. And there are also support is also available for emotional abuse. It is not just for physical, because a lot of it, what my mom went through, was all emotional abuse. To be clear, Dad never hit her. And he didn't hit me that much. So it wasn't, it was mostly emotional. I found one website, but it is subscription based. I'm trying to find, let me see, free. I'm trying to find one that's free. Free. But honestly, a lot of it just starts with figuring out that it is happening. Because that's a big part of the thing. People don't even realize it's happening. So there are free resources just for recognizing what gaslighting is, recognizing different types of emotional abuse. But yeah. No, it's it's a thing. Well, that just got heavy again real quick. Let's hit a button, because we're also coming up on
The last commercial, Chris?
we're also coming up in an hour. So let's hit the last commercial. So by now, you know how much I love my Evolution shears. They're the only shears I use. Check out all the options, including customizable non-swivels, at evolutionshears.com, and give Abby a shout with any questions you might have. Traveling Groomers listeners get $10 off and free shipping with the code ONTHEROAD, all one word. So check them out today. Your hands will thank you. By the way, on a positive note, guess what happened today?
What happened?
I got a new client. I took a new client because she was friends with a really, really good client. Like, I'm not really taking new people, but she was really close friends with one of my clients who's like super nice and awesome. So I'm like, well, if this is her friend, she's got to be super nice and awesome. Not realizing they were like such close friends. This woman was moving to be closer to her. They're like sisters. And guess what she used to do? Slash, I think, still does.
She's a hairdresser.
She's a hairdresser. For those of you listening and not watching, I kept fixing my hair. I got my bangs trimmed today.
Nice.
And it doesn't look as nice as it could because when I washed my hair yesterday, it dried funny and it dried flat, but I can tell it's going to look amazing when I actually do something with it. And I let her use my evolution shears because she's like, oh, you got the swivel thumb, you got the whole, oh, okay. So yeah, she was playing with she used my diamond dust straights.
Very nice.
I didn't actually clutch my pearls in front of her because I didn't know her that well, because she's like, do you have ones that are like really sharp? Like, I want to do the slide thing. And I was like, I didn't go, what are you implying? My soul cringed a little bit. And I'm like, those should work. Well, I don't want to pull. No, they work. She did the slide and it worked. It was fine.
All right. So
Infer.
Hmm?
How dare she even infer?
I know.
The diamond dust evolution. These things are so sharp. Okay. So I have a pair. I put them in my suitcase, bobbled them, cut myself. Took them out of the suitcase when I get home, bobbled them again because I was being like overly gingerly with them. The other hand. And then when I was packing them, I was wrapping them in bubble wrap and slid my hand down the length of the shank and cut myself again. That was a 3 Band-Aid mistake, by the way. So handle them carefully. And they're basically the sharpest instruments that I own. You could probably do surgery with those things. They're so sharp.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I own swords. So, yeah.
None of my swords are sharp.
Some of mine are.
Ooh.
I actually called up Mo and went, hey. So I moved and they got kind of banged up a bit. Do you do swords? Yeah.
What did he say?
He said he would be interested to try.
That's kind of what I thought. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if he's ever done a sword before, but I could see him going, no, but I want to.
That was kind of the thing.
No, but I want to. Oh, okay. So I almost feel like we're at a live stream and I want like a fun fact to end on a positive note. Because this
would you like to know what happened after I made the school bus?
Yes, actually I do.
All right. So
Mary's fun fact.
So I went around to the school bus. The school bus is pulled to the side, and she opened the door and let me in. Which, okay. And every kid on that bus pointed to the kid who threatened my daughter.
That's the turd right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
And the school bus driver said, shall I report this to the school? And I'm like, yes, you should, because he threatened my daughter.
Yeah.
Not having any of this.
So either you report this to the school or I'm throwing that little peon out the window.
So anyway, so that's what happened there. I didn't have to pull the school bus over anymore after that time.
Okay.
Nice.
Different time too. So that was 1987, 88, something like that.
Yeah, I could see a parent doing that back then.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. And just the school bus driver be like, yeah, you can drag them out.
I saw nothing. There were no cameras then.
No.
There were
no kids with cell phones either.
No kids with cell phones, no cameras, never happened. I don't know what. Oh, you want to hear a good another school bus story? With something that happened recently, and this is why we have cameras now on everything. So my nephew, and I'll be very vague about, I don't want to spill too much, get anything in trouble. So my nephew was on a busing situation from his residence to his day program. And for those who don't know, who missed the episode where I talked about it, my nephew has a couple different diagnoses. One of them is MR and autism, and is basically, he is not able to live on his own, but because his sister was in New York and they had really good resources, and so he's settled, but I'm his guardian, but he's settled in New York. And he was having like some marks on him, and the day program was like, he came this way, the house, and the house is like, we didn't do shit. He was fine when we left the house. So someone in the day program, the day hab, who is absolutely going to heaven, sat through and watched footage from the bus. Like, watched very, very carefully, because she's like, no, I'm not gonna point fingers. We're gonna figure this out. Something had to have happened. So because she watched that footage so carefully, she went, what's the driver doing at that red light? The driver's doing something. Let me report this and get the steering wheel tested. The driver was doing drugs off like the steering wheel and the dashboard while he had these mentally handicapped kids, mentally and some of them physically handicapped kids. I say kids, they're adult aged, but while he had these people in the car or in the bus, and was stopped at a red light, and the aide had to have known and saw and, said nothing. So yeah, I got a call about that and said, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening, but this is all unofficial. You'll get a letter after they run the tests. Yeah. That person and the aide are now fired. This is why we have cameras today. And I was like, you know what? I will take my baby having a little scratch for finding this out. Because that was a horror show waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So this is why we have cameras now, unfortunately. And
Also have cameras now so that weird people like me can dance in the aisle with a little old lady who's playing a little Christmas box that opened, and she opened the box and it started to play music, and she was dancing. She was happy, she's got to be in her 80s. And I came around the corner and she, wide-eyed, like
caught.
And I smiled at her because I thought it was awesome. She's got a groove on, and I'm like, well, hot damn. And so I was like, care to join? And she was like, okay. And she box back up. The two of us were just grouped out in the aisle. And it was like, yeah, all right, get it. And,
I love that.
Awesome. It was a beautiful moment. And she was like, thank you, sweetheart. I needed that dance. And I gave her a hug and went on my way.
And see, I bet a security guard, you just made their day, because they're just watching like horribleness, and they're watching people of Walmart or something. And then all of a sudden pure joy happens.
Yeah, just a weirdo and a little old lady grooving out to a Christmas box. It was a thing of beauty, man. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good stuff.
Love it. All right. So basically what we're saying with this whole episode is it has the potential to get better. Don't let it get so bad that it comes to that, oh, Mary's gone, that it comes to that crisis point, and reach out for help.
Yep.
There is more help, even if you start Googling stuff. You can make your search history private if you're worried about the other person in the house. Yeah.
Yep.
Do libraries still have computers?
They absolutely do.
You can go do that search at your public library,
Mm-hmm.
which is hard to do if someone's tracking every moment of your day. But you know
Library.
what? Honey, the line at the grocery store was horrible today. It just was. You wouldn't believe what happened. The weather, the traffic, the groceries. And you can do it 5-10 minutes at a time. So you don't have bigger chunks of time to account for, because that's big in a really controlling relationship where they're convinced you're cheating, they're convinced you're that. That's a big part of the emotional abuse. You
can
have
also
to.
do phone on your phone in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yes. Hey, multitask a big poop.
Mm-hmm.
Helps if you even have to poop, because then you got stinky proof that, hey, I'm sorry, I just,
I was pooping.
What did you find to eat? Oh, good
Okay, so on that note,
God. Stinky poop? On the stinky poop
Yeah.
note?
we'll end up the podcast on stinky poop.
Hey, here's the positive note. I found a good use for stinky poop. Nothing is useless. You're welcome. Angie.
Damn.
Angie,
Okay. I did.
I did. Angie, thanks for coming. Thanks for
thanks
being
for
so
having me.
open and talking and
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, she's got to get back to fixing that website.
Have fun with that. Breathe. Did you eat dinner yet?
You still recording?
You were still recording. Did you eat dinner yet?
I did. I actually, Amy brought me eggs. So there, I had 3 hard-boiled eggs for supper. However, I don't have any other food in my fridge, so I need
Okay,
to go to
go.
Walmart.
Go to Walmart.
The old lady is there. We can get our groove on again. But it's kind of late, so she's probably like a normal person in bed. Because it is 9:45 here. But
Okay.
they close at 11, so I need to get good food on and go
Didn't
get
we
some
start?
food.
Didn't we start early? How is it quarter? Oh, that's right. We chatted before we hit record.
We
This is a thing
did
we do. Okay.
All right.
On that note of finding uses for stinky poop and holding people accountable for eating, safe travels out there, guys. Bye. Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels. Every time I wave, there's no reason to wave. God damn.